All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Today is kind of all about the heart, all about honoring words. So lots of my favorite quotes from Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And to get started, and this is totally optional, but if you have a towel or a blanket, kind of rolling it up so it's kind of in the shape of a bolster, having it horizontal on your mat. And then go ahead and lay down, allowing just the tops of your shoulders to kind of fall off the top so you begin to open your heart. Arms out to the side. You can have another blanket underneath behind your head if this is kind of too low. And if it is feeling really uncomfortable, feel free to shimmy your shoulders so they're a little bit more on top of it. So the main goal here is not pain, just a nice soft heart opener. Let your feet fall open, and if it's okay to do so in the space you're in, just close your eyes. Start to allow your body to soften down. Taking this time to connect to your breath. So just start to notice, become aware of your inhales and exhales. And then as you feel led to, let that inhale become really deep and broad. So let it expand within your low belly. And you might even really notice that chest rising here in this position if you have the blanket behind your heart. Feel your collarbones widen. And as you exhale, soft and slowly, just let everything release down your belly, the ribs. Let that exhale take out some tension. Each inhale, almost as if you could imagine that heart space right in the center of your chest, that blending of spirit and self, our heart chakra area. Just think of the breath. It could be a light, a color if you wish. Each inhale getting bigger, brighter. One of my favorite quotes that I often think of, and it's not from Martin Luther King, but it's from an author who I know was influenced by him. And I have it kind of on a plaque, and it says, "Whatever the question is, let love be the answer," from Cleo Wade. And I think, if anything, from Martin Luther King Jr., we've learned that love is always the answer. So, whatever intention, thought, person, place, mantra you'd like, let that kind of bubble up here in these few breaths in this space. Couple more of those deep, broad inhales. And maybe on an exhale, you release your jaw and let out a sigh. And then really slowly bringing soles of the feet towards the mat, about hip width apart. And at any time, you can remove anything you have underneath you, or it might feel good to you to leave it there, but feel free to remove any objects. And then as your next exhale comes around, just let your knees drift to one side, keeping shoulder blades softening down to the earth. And then as you inhale, the knees rise up again. Exhale to the other side, and really let be what initiates this windshield wiper movement here. Let your hips go. meaning let them kind of release up and off the mat. No need to keep those sits bones grounded right now. And then bring those knees back up to center, bringing those arms into the air. Make some circles into the wrist just to start getting into some more joints here. Both directions, back and forth. And then taking your arms, taking hold of each elbow with opposite hands. So you kind of have I Dream of Genie arms here. And then taking the right hand, gently draw that left elbow over to the right. It's just as you start to feel kind of that nice little stretch in the shoulder. And then bring those arms, forearms up over your head. Here. Circling the arms around. Again, think of that inhale. Really filling up. Maybe you exhale as your hands come near your belly. Maybe you're on an opposite breath than me. That's completely fine. Think of getting into the space of the shoulders, working with some mobility in the joints, so that when we start to open the heart, our shoulders are still nice and happy. One more circle around this direction. And then reverse that circle. So the left hand just gently draws the right elbow over to the left and then overhead. Just keep that circle going. One of my next favorite quotes is, I've decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. And just allowing yourself to think of that space of hatred and how much messiness, how tangled it feels, how stiff. Don't even think of working that through and out. It's okay, it's part of being human. And then let's release the arms. You can make some circles again with the wrists. Draw that right knee to chest, give it a nice little squeeze. If you like, you can extend that left leg down the length of the mat. We'll make some circles into the hip socket. So take the knee around in one direction. Exhales, slow, steady exhales. Give that knee another squeeze into the chest. Take your right arm out to the side like a wing and just gently draw that right knee over to the left as your right shoulder blade stays towards the mat. If it feels okay to you, you can take your gaze over to your right fingertips. And here in this space, let that exhale release your whole body to the mat. Taking that space of tension, maybe you're holding your shoulders above the mat, just let them lay closer to gravity, closer to earth. Coming back nice and gently towards center. And then letting that knee drift to the outside of the rib cage, bringing the sole of the foot towards the ceiling. So coming into half happy baby here. If you'd like to slide that left sole of the foot to the mat, go ahead. Taking hold of the calf, the ankle, the knife edge of your right foot. Here, take a moment on your inhale to create a little bit of tension, a little resistance. So as you inhale, press the sole of the foot towards the ceiling, the hand resists. So not a ton of effort here. We're just working maybe 75% on that inhale. And then as you exhale, slowly turn the dial down of that tension. Just let the arm and the leg melt a little bit closer to the mat. Feel free to go back and forth between that inhale, creating tension, and the exhale, softening. Or you can just soften here and hold. Again, let that heart space expand. Let the backs of your shoulders find the mat on the inhale and see if they can't kind of stay there as you exhale. And then if the left foot isn't already on the mat, go ahead and slide it up, crossing the right leg over the left, flexing into the right foot. Keep that right knee open as you gently draw the left knee into chest. Tops of the shoulders melt down. Oh, that stretch feels kind of nice. If you'd like, if you rock from side to side here, just make sure that that knee, ankle, toes are staying in alignment so we're not kind of getting that knee out of place. Six right leg to the mat. Start with the knee to get into our hip socket. Get that synovial joint fluid. Thank you all for being here. I messed up my Sunday and didn't schedule it. And I was here yesterday going, where is everyone? When I didn't schedule a class. So I'm really glad you guys are here today. And then keep that right hand on the left knee. Bring that left arm out to the side. Gently draw that left knee over to the right. Left shoulder blade stays to the mat. As you inhale into that heart space, that opening on the side, exhale and just let the ribs melt, the belly melt, shoulders, your jaw, and everything soften here. No need to hold on to any tension in this moment. And then think of that exhale, kind of drawing out the spaces of judgment. Maybe there's whatever we've built up, just being in this world that we live in, inundated with messaging. Cultural, racial divides, stereotypes. And it's okay not to beat yourself up here in this space, but to let that go and realize that we're just living in a world where it's like air. We just breathe it in. And then come back to center nice and gently. Let that left knee kind of continue out towards the outside of your rib cage. Sole the foot towards the ceiling, taking hold of calf, ankle, or the knife edge of the left foot. You can always bring that right sole of the foot back towards the mat. Once again, on your next inhale, create just this nice little tension to get that somatic stretch going. And then as you exhale, it's like turning the dial down on that tension. You feel your knee, shoulder, maybe everything just melts a little bit closer to the mat. And again, if you'd like, you can inhale, create that tension again as if the sole of the foot were trying to reach the ceiling and the hand was resisting. And then just let that tension melt away. Let your shoulder blades ease down. And again, if your sole of your foot isn't to the mat, the right sole of the foot, bring it towards the mat, crossing the left leg over just above the ankle. Keep the left foot flexed, the left knee open as your right knee gently draws in towards your chest. Big, deep inhale and use this exhale to release tension and stress in the hips, the belly, the face. And again, it might feel good to you to rock from side to side and go ahead. Just make sure that everything's kind of traveling in the same plane. Sometimes we can get a little wonky. And release that stretch. Just draw both knees into the chest. Maybe a little rocking from side to side feels good. Or maybe you'd like to rock from front to back of your mat to give your back a little massage. Either way, whatever feels good to you, we're all going to end up in the same place. So coming up to table. So if you have a particularly hard floor, just like some extra cushion under your knees, go ahead and bring that towel or blanket underneath your knees. Knees are going to be directly underneath shoulders. Fan out the fingertips really wide. Wrists can be slightly ahead of your shoulders, especially if you'd like to have a little bit more opening space in the wrists. So a couple of cat cows here. As you inhale, feel those hips lift, low belly sinks down. Heart shines through, chin comes up last. As you exhale, tuck your tailbone under, draw the navel to the spine. Press the mat away and then tuck your chin. Feel that space between shoulder blades. And then just follow your breath here. The inhale and the exhale. Really let that spine start to articulate. So even if you're moving really slow through these, so you can feel each vertebrae, that's okay. Another one of my favorite quotes, love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. So coming back to a bit more of a neutral spine, draw the crown of the head forward. So gently draw that low belly as if you could think of belly button coming to your mid back. On your next inhale, go ahead and inhale, that left leg rises up. You can stay here, or if you'd like, you can bring your right arm forward so the bicep is by your ear. On your next exhale, draw that navel in, press the mat away, elbow comes to knee, give it a little press. Next inhale, unfurl, get really long from fingertips to toes. Exhale, and you can have your hand down and just draw that knee in. Inhale, last one, exhale. Inhale, grow long one last time, lengthen out. Exhale, bring that left knee down. Bring the knees so they're a little bit closer together, directly underneath you, and we'll make some circles. Let those hips drift over to the left, circle around to the back. Go ahead and keep circling around. My music got extremely loud for some reason, so. And then come back to that neutral position. So once again, those knees directly underneath hips. Draw the low belly in and up so you wave the spine nice and long. This time on your next inhale, let that right leg extend out. And if you'd like, you can bring that left arm, reaching it bicep by the ear. As you exhale, really press the mat away, curling like a little ball, elbow to knee to elbow, or just draw that knee in. Extend it out. Use that breath, press all that air out and away. One more time, inhale, get really long. As you exhale, bring that right knee down, left knee, come closer to the center, and then circle the opposite side. Let the hips drift to the right, circle around to the back. And again, if there's a space in this where it feels kind of sticky, go ahead and stay there a little longer. Maybe it just doesn't feel bad, it just feels really good. Maybe it's not necessarily tight, it just feels nice. And then we'll come back to that neutral spine, bringing those knees once again underneath the hips, kind of resettling the hands, maybe slightly forward, fan out the fingers. Feel those hands really centering down into earth. Feel the fingertips grip down into your mat, tuck your toes under. Send those hips high as you press the mat forward. Take a moment to kind of get those shoulders in a neutral position. So making sure that shoulders aren't really far near your ears and not so far down your back that your ribs begin to stick out, just like if you were standing. And straightening into the knees so the heels soften towards the mat. They don't need to touch. Maybe a little back and forth, bending and straightening into the knees to get into the back body. A couple of really good cleansing inhales and exhales. And coming a little bit more to a neutral spine, taking a look forward as you bend deeply into the knees. And then as you exhale, bring those feet directly underneath your hips. Deep bend in the knees, so the low belly, bottom of your ribs comes to the top of your thighs. And then just forward fold it out. You can sway from side to side here. If you'd like, you can take hold of opposite elbow with opposite hand. At the center of nonviolence stands the principle of love. And that reminds me a lot of the Yama and Ahimsa, that do no harm. And then as you're ready, fingertips can come to the mat, they can come to a block, or they can slide up your shins as you find this nice little half lift on your inhale, crown of the head forward, tailbone back. As you exhale, keep the weight back in the hips and the heels, and then unhinge, coming all the way up to Tadasana, nice and slow. Ooh. Take an exhale, bring hands to heart center. Allow shoulder blades to soften down your back. Just kind of finding some reaffirming in your feet. So maybe little kicking them back out, settling back down. As you inhale, bring those hands up. As you exhale, bend those knees, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Keep those knees nice and bent as you kind of land once again in a nice little forward fold. If you'd like, you can bring a block in front. Once again, take a little inhale to find a half lift here. As you exhale, bend those knees, forward fold. Take a deep bend in the right knee. Keep the right hand down on the block. And on your next inhale, lift up that left hand, kind of a nice little twist, open up the chest. Gaze can go towards the fingertips if you'd like. And then exhale, come back down. Take an inhale to find some length in the spine. Wave that spine long. Exhale, forward fold. Keep those knees nice and bent just to protect that hamstring insertion. And then we'll move to the left. Left knee bent, left hand down. Inhale, sweep that right arm up. Open up that heart space, that chest. Nice little twist. Exhale it down. We'll go one more each side. Inhale, wave the spine long. Exhale. Next inhale, bend the right knee, right hand stays down, the left arm floats up. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale, wave the spine long. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend that left knee, right hand comes up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, wave the spine long. This time plant the hands. Send the feet back to downward facing dog. Take a little big inhale. Either one, whatever. A nice inhale, cleansing exhale. Then come up high on those toes. Start to wave the spine forward. Coming into plank. Slowly lower those knees. We're going to lower all the way down. Keep those elbows in. Let those hips lower. Hands stay by the side. Untuck your toes. Press all 10 toenails into the mat. So much so that your kneecaps lift off. Soften your tailbone. Think of pubic bone to belly button. Draw those shoulders down your back, elbows in. On your next inhale, rise up nice and strong in the legs. Take a look forward. Exhale it down. Keep all of that action. Shoulder blades down your back, elbows in, legs nice and strong. This time as you inhale, take a gaze over your left shoulder. Exhale it down. Next, inhale, gaze over the right shoulder. Exhale it down. One more time forward. All this strength in the core. Inhale it up. This time, exhale it down. Stack those hands on top of each other. You can rest your forehead on top of your hands. You can just sway your hips from side to side or bend your knees and kind of windshield wipe your legs. In ahimsa, sometimes it's finding that courage within in order to maintain do no harm. Another quote from Martin Luther King: in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Sometimes doing no harm can be a little bit more uncomfortable because we need to protect. Sometimes our silence can hurt. Slowly bring those hands back by your chest. Take an inhale here. Find some length in the spine. As you exhale, pressing all the way up. I lost my sound. I hope you guys can hear me. Pressing all the way up. Tuck those toes under. Send those hips high. Coming into downward facing dog. Take a nice big inhale. Cleansing, clearing exhale. On your next inhale, come up high on those toes. Wave the spine forward, but this time lower down to those knees. You can keep your toes tucked under. Sometimes it's really nice to start to open up the bottom of the feet. You can feel free to untuck the toes, sitting on the tops of them. And if that's really uncomfortable, feel free to bring a block, sitting on top of a block. If you have another extra block, go ahead and bring that over to your right side for right now. Take an inhale here. We're going to inhale, bring those arms up overhead. As you exhale, cactus those arms back, shoulders back. And then exhale, find that little release. And then we're just going to kind of do some sweeping motion. So if you were to sweep that left hand in the mat in front of you, bend at the elbow as it comes by your ear, draw your shoulder blade down your back, and then reach over towards the right. I think I'm going to face you guys for this. Reach and extend. Then sweeping back forward, that left hand now coming to the left, right hand sweeping. Once that elbow hits your ear, draw your shoulder blade down your back, then open up your chest and reach. Just kind of minding our shoulder blades and shoulders, joints a little bit better. Inhale, come back forward. And then sweep that left elbow, open up. Hand can come down to a block now. Come up high on those knees. Bring that left foot out. So now we're kind of like in this nice little extended gate. Hand can be on top of a block here, bringing the earth up, or you can have hand on the floor. Open up the chest. As you exhale, come back up. This time left arm down, right reaches over. Keep that chest opening. Then come back towards center. Keep that left leg out. Walk those hands forward. So taking a gaze forward, hips are stacked over the knees still. And then if it feels good, you can start to melt that chest down towards the mat, or just rest your forehead in a block as those fingertips reach forward. Wherever you are, inhale to that space behind your heart. Exhale, release. Breathe into that space. Let it fill all the way up in that heart space, and exhale. Maybe there's a little bit softening. Then walking your hands slightly back, fan out the fingers. Tuck the right toes under. that left leg can stay out, press those hips up. So now we're in a little bit of a wonky downward dog. Sometimes it's not comfortable to get out of our comfort zone and say what needs to be said. On your next inhale, slide that left leg up, maybe open up the hip, so bend into the knee, bring those left toes over to the right so that hip is open. As you exhale, soften down to the earth, kind of bending into elbows and knees. You can either place that left knee down to the mat. We're going to come open into the side plank on the left. So that left knee can be down, left hand down, just as we did before. Spin that right hand open. You have the option to come up onto a full plank. We're going to be lifting that right leg though. So reach once again, fingertips to toes. Then as you exhale, draw that elbow towards your knee. Press against the knee. Bring that right foot now, so the left knee, was down. Bring that right foot down, spin towards that right hip. So now we're opening up in the chest. Feel free to let that shoulder kind of collapse into the ear to open up our right side body. Big deep inhale in, cleansing exhale out. Come back to downward facing dog. Cleansing, inhale in and exhale to release. Come up high on those toes, wave the spine forward into plank, but then soften down towards the knees. Again, feel free to sit on top of a block. You can sit on top of your tops of your feet or have your toes tucked under. Bringing a block to your left this time. Sweeping that right hand forward. And at the elbow, draw the shoulder blade down and reaching to the left. Sweep forward once again. Bend into the elbow. Reach over to the right. Open up that chest. Sweeping. Once that elbow hits your ear, bend and then reach. Left hand can come to a block as we come up high on those knees. Extend the right leg out. Reach those hips forward, shoulder open. Can you have that hand on the block? As you exhale, come up. Right hand floats down. Left hand reaches over. As you exhale, keep that right foot out. Bring those hands forward. Keep walking the hands forward so the hips are staying over the knee. Gaze can go forward. And then if it feels good to you, let that heart melt down. You could always have forehead resting on top of a block. Wherever you're at, inhale to that space between your shoulder blades. Release that breath. Opening up that heart space. That be the answer. Back now. The fingers go up under the side. Get out. It's a little wonky dog here. Big deep inhale in, cleansing exhale. On your next inhale, let that right leg rise up, bend into the knee, send those right toes to the left to open up that hip. As you exhale, soften down towards the mat. That right knee can land as we spin open into a side plank. You can always extend that right leg down the length of the mat if you'd like. Bring that left hand over to the elbow, knee to elbow. It feels good. Might not. Then come back to more of a plank. This time, instead of the right knee down, place that right foot where the knee was. Spin so that left hip comes down to the mat and open up here. And it's okay in this position to let that shoulder kind of drift towards the ear to find that space. And a nice big inhale. And then just getting ready down to that. After you're ready, go ahead and press into that foot back to facing dog. Nice inhale, cleansing, exhale. And here, kind of one block towards the front of your mat, one block toward the back of your mat, just having it nice and available. On your next inhale, let that right leg float up. As you exhale, soften down to earth. So elbows bend back, knee bend, right hand soft down. Inhale, find some lift spine. Bring down here, or hinge at the hip upwards. Find that softening in tailbone. Think of pubic bone to button or that knee towards heel, like a little magnet. Then allow those hips to melt down and forward, keeping that low back safe. Shoulder blades draw down your back. As you exhale, bring both hands on either side of that front foot. Gently send those hips back. Front knee can be bent any amount. Let that low belly stay connected to the top of the thigh. Protect that hamstring. Exhale, come back, plant hands, send it back to down facing dog. Cleansing breath here to clear away. Then as you're ready, inhale, that left foot rises up. Exhale, soften to earth and draw that hand left behind the left, softly right facing down. Inhale, lengthen the spine. You can take your forearms to the top of your thigh, maybe come all the way up into that back. Think of pubic bone to belly button. And there's a little energetic scissoring of the legs. Then let those hips drift down and low. Exhale, both hands on either side of that foot. Send those hips back. Keep that front knee bent any amount. You can even take a little space here to inhale, find some length in the spine. Moving back forward, placing either hand on either side. Coming back to downward facing dog. Take a look forward, take a deep bend in those knees, then bring the feet directly underneath hips. Forward, fold it out. Keep those knees bent. On your next inhale, find a little half lift. As you exhale, bring those weight back into the heels, soften into the knees, and then unhinge. Use that core to draw you all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale it up. Exhale, bend those knees, forward fold. Inhale, find a little half lift. As you exhale, plant those hands, come to downward facing dog. On your next inhale, wave the spine long, or you can skip this chaturanga part. Exhale, lower the knees, lower all the way down. Keep those knees or elbows at a 90. Inhale it up. As you exhale, send it back to downward facing dog. You can always skip that part. Inhale, let that right leg float up. As you exhale, soften to earth, draw that knee in, right foot behind the right hand. Take a moment here to inhale, grow long through the spine. Bend that back knee, and then unhinge from the hips coming up to crescent. Once you find that space, if it feels good, to straighten into the knee, do so. As you exhale, bring that torso forward. And here's where we can use our friend. Find some length in the spine, and then just coming forward, but making sure that you're using that heel, driving the heel down, so much so that maybe that back leg lifts up. Keep the spine long. Inhale to grow long through the spine. You can always bring those hands back if you'd like. Hands to heart center. As you exhale, slowly lower that back foot, bend into the knee. Again, unhinge here, use your core. Open it up. Beautiful. Exhale, bring those hands down on either side, send it back to downward facing dog. Cleansing, clearing, inhale and exhale. As you're ready, inhale, that left leg rises up. As you exhale, soften to earth, place that left foot behind the left hand. Inhale to wave the spine long, bend that back knee, and then exhale, use that core, bring it all the way up. And then maybe that leg likes to straighten, maybe it doesn't matter. As you exhale, lean that torso forward. Once again, put everything into the heel, not necessarily your toe edge. We're protecting our knee, so much so that that right foot maybe floats up. Keep those hips square. Inhale, find a little length in the spine. Feel free to test that. Bring hands off. Hands can come to heart center. Slowly exhale, lower that right foot back down. Inhale it up one more time. Exhale. Back to downward facing dog. Cleansing, clearing breath here. Take a look forward, take a deep bend in your knees, and bring those feet underneath hips. Inhale, a little half lift. Exhale, bend the knees, soften back into the heels and the hips, and then unhinge. Exhale. Your breath may be doing something different, that's fine. Inhale. Bring those arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, find a little half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, send it back to downward dog. Stay here, rest in child's pose. Or if you'd like to inhale, finding a little chaturanga, you can lower those knees. Keep those elbows at 90. And nice and easy today, easy on your body. Send those hips high and we'll all meet in downward facing dog. As you're ready, take an inhale, let that right leg rise up. As you exhale, bring that knee through, place that right foot. Inhale, gather up some length. Find that core strength. So if you have to bend that back knee to feel that pelvic floor draw you all the way up, and then straighten into it. As you exhale, we're gonna load everything we have into that heel, float it up into warrior three. Maybe those hands go back. Use that block or a wall, maybe a sturdy kid. Lower that left foot back down. Inhale it up. This time as you exhale, pivot the back foot so it's parallel to the mat. We're coming into warrior two. Gaze goes over those fingertips. Right fingertips. As you exhale, we're going to pivot, and here's where that block might come in handy. We're going to pivot, bend into that left knee. So heart comes forward, seat goes back, Skandasana. So maybe the seat likes to land on the block. Maybe you like to hover. Maybe you're coming all the way down. Wherever you are, just give yourself a moment to land there. Inhale, find some length in the spine. Heart reaches forward. Beautiful. As you exhale, come back up. Toes are going to be in the same direction as the knees. Send the hips back, find some space, and then use the core to draw that torso back up to goddess. Inhale, reach up. As you exhale, cactus those arms, lift the chest. Inhale it up. This time as you exhale, we're going to pivot back. Crescent and then downward facing dog. Beautiful. Take a nice big inhale. Cleansing, clearing exhale. As you're ready, let that left leg float up. As you exhale, soften to earth and press the mat away, left foot behind the left hand. Inhale to gather up some length in the spine. Bend that back knee, then exhale, use that core to draw all the way up. Maybe that back leg straightens. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, load everything you have. Let that right foot float up. Maybe those hands reach back. Maybe they stay on blocks. On your next exhale, slowly bring that left foot down. Come back up to crescent. Exhale, open it up into warrior two, so that back foot goes parallel. Open up that left thigh. Arms float up, shoulder blades glide down your back. Big deep inhale, cleansing, clearing exhale. And then kind of pivoting that foot so it feels good. Send those hips back. Skandasana now on the right. Heart comes forward, seat goes back. Feel free to bring a block. Let that seat rest on the block. Woo. Find that spaciousness in the heart. Take a little breath. And then come back towards center, toes the same as the knees. Find that core strength, hips go back. Then kind of use the core to lift up into goddess. Inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale, cactus. This time, inhale, reach the hands up. Bring those toes a little bit more forward. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Take some time, gather up some length in the spine, and then exhale, let the head and neck go. You can always take hold of behind the calves. You can reach through to the wall behind you, whatever feels good to you today. Take a deep bend in those knees, gather up some length in the spine, kind of draw those heels in so we could use the heels to drive down, lift the torso up. Pivot back towards the left into crescent. Exhale it down, coming into downward facing dog. Cleansing, clearing breath. On your next inhale, raise up high on those toes, wave the spine forward, then soften the knees down, then we're going to come all the way down to the earth. So feel free to bring a towel or a blanket, folding it up, and you can place your seat on the edge just to give a little bit more space to the hips. Left leg extended, right sole of the foot towards the inside of that left upper thigh. Feel the sits bones root down. Take an inhale, wave the spine long, crown of the head reaches up. As you exhale, just let those ribs kind of turn towards that left leg. Keep that left foot flexed. And then exhale, maybe that heart melts down. And again, as always, maybe taking some time to explore. As you inhale, wave the spine up. Exhale, heart lowers. Maybe it feels good to keep that going. At each inhale, the spine gets long. Each exhale, there might be another little door that's opened here. Or it might feel good just to sit and rest in that space. It's up to you. Wherever you are, shoulder blades gliding down your back, softening the tops of your shoulders. He also said, forgiveness is not an occasional act. It is a constant attitude. Oh, and sometimes forgiveness can seem like the hardest thing. As you exhale, bring that torso back up. Then soften into that right knee. So kind of drawing it up slightly. Bring that right elbow towards the inside. Then as you inhale, sweep that left shoulder. I may be backwards. I think I may have cued you guys the other side. But open up that chest. Then as you exhale, bend into the elbow, sweep those fingers. Once that elbow reaches the ear, slide shoulder blade down your back. Then you might notice that leg just kind of on its own sliding straighter. It doesn't need to be straight. It can stay up here even. Finding that stretch on the side body. Some of you may be finding your toes. Keeping that chest open if you can, instead of collapsing forward, but keeping that chest open as that left arm reaches. Exhale. Gently come up. And we'll switch out. Sorry, I think I was mirroring you guys at first, and then I switched, but opposite leg. Bring that sole of the foot towards the inside. Take a moment. Feel sits bones root down. Inhale. Crown of the head reaches up. As you exhale, just let those ribs turn to a comfortable position. It's not going to be completely facing that leg, flexing into the foot. And again, if this is a lot on the hamstrings, bring something underneath the knee to soften there. Inhale, wave the spine long. As you exhale, let that heart kind of melt forward. And maybe you find that back and forth. Each inhale, the spine waves long, shoulder blades start to ease down your back, and then the heart melts. Or sometimes just a hold in this pose feels better. Inhale, find some length. Exhale, fold it over. Allow your face to soften. Allow tension somewhere else to release. Then as you're ready, exhale, coming back up. This time bending deeply into that leg, bringing this arm from the same leg on the inside, and then open up that chest, reaching back, the opposite arm. As you exhale, sweep that arm that was back forward. Once the elbow kind of reaches by the ear, bend into the elbow, draw shoulder blade down your back, then reach over. Then you might notice that leg stretching out, keeping that chest open. Some people may be able to grab their toes. Maybe you're nowhere near your toes, that's fine. We're all in a different place, but whatever feels good here. As you exhale, gently coming out of that, moving really slowly. And then we're going to come all the way down the length of the mat. Really, really slowly. Let your body land as softly as possible to your mat. Crossing that right leg on the top of the left. So now the knees are stacked, bringing those arms out to the side. Gently lift up your hips and draw them over to the left. And then on your next exhale, slowly let both knees drift to the right, as your left shoulder blade stays to the mat. If this crossing of the legs is too intense, go ahead and uncross. On your next inhale, bring those knees back up towards center, and then we're going to exhale, lift up the hips, bring them to the right, and then let the knees drift to the left. Right shoulder blade stays on the mat. Big deep inhale, cleansing, clearing, exhale. Bring those knees back up to center. Maybe taking a little dead bug while we unwind from that side. And then right sole of the foot stays on the mat. Left leg is crossing over the top. As you inhale, lift those hips up and gently move them to the right. As you exhale, let the knees slowly drift to the left. Again, you can always keep the legs uncrossed here if this is at all uncomfortable. Shoulder blades are staying softly to the mat. Inhale, gently come back up through center, lifting up the hips and bringing them just a few inches to the left, and then let both knees drift to the right. Soften your face, soften the front of your shoulders, your throat. Inhale it up through center, unwind. And then maybe just finding any last little bit of movement that you need before your final resting pose. Maybe it's another happy baby. And then just a suggestion, if you'd like to end with another heart opener, this time bringing your blanket the length of the mat, still rolled up the way it was. So sort of like a supported fish. So that's going to come to your tailbone and then softening down on that, making sure that your head is supported though. Or if it's gently coming off the back of it, make sure that your cervical spine, the back of your neck, isn't pinching off too much so you're in pain. But finding that final resting pose, whatever it looks like for you. Take a big deep inhale and a cleansing and clearing exhale out of an open mouth. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Bringing your palms up, letting your feet fall open. And just a few moments here in this final resting space. Letting your heart find some peace. And as always, feel free to stay in your final resting pose as long as you like, as long as you possibly can. I would say this is probably the most important pose you'll do today. And if and when you're ready, you can make some movements in your fingers, movements in your toes. Make some circling in your ankles and your wrists. And if it feels good, you can inhale, bring arms overhead, point your toes down the length of the mat, a nice long stretch. And as you exhale, you can draw knees to chest if you'd like, or just bring soles of the feet towards the mat, maybe a little rocking of your head from side to side. And as you're ready, gently rolling over to one side, giving yourself a brief little pause there. Finding that space of gratitude for yourself, for giving yourself some time today. Maybe reconnecting to that intention or mantra that you brought with you. And then as you're ready, slowly press yourself up to an easy seated position. Finding whichever seated pose is easiest for you. Maybe it's one foot in front of the other. Maybe you'd like to have your hips elevated. Feel free to bring some blocks underneath your knees. Just taking a moment as you inhale to reach the crown of the head upward, and as you exhale, let your shoulder blades soften down. Then bringing those hands together, the coming together of all opposite heals all opposites, letting your head bow gently to your heart. My last quote from this wonderful human: I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. This is why right, temporarily defeated, is stronger than evil triumphant. I thank you guys so much for being here with me today, for sticking with me through forgetting yesterday, and I hope you have an amazing day, amazing rest of your week, and I hope you take care of your heart. So thank you so much.